Hello, everybody, and welcome to Duval Thursdays. And you found the right place if you're a Jags fan. I know that the Texans things that I'm wearing got to throw you off a little bit, but
Boo.
whole podcast long, nothing but Jags and the
Jacking off.
mountaintop that they jagging around, jagging off. Uh, we're gonna ask Isaiah to give a view from the King's Court upon the peasants and the rest of the division. um, to see who might be the mightiest to challenge for the throne. Um,
None of these peasants.
None of them. As you may know, my name is Curtis Brown, and I'm the host of the channel. This is Isaiah Michelli, our resident Jags fan on the channel, and as you may learn, season ticket holder.
Hates the cheat. Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what they should know. Yeah.
Hey. Yep. Section 121, row U. If anybody's wondering, 4 and 5. No, 5 and 6. Got you. Let's meet up. Let's be friends.
So keep an eye out for that, man, in Duval
Merch.
County. And you'll see that this AFC South show merch, perhaps, maybe a sign. I don't know.
Free pictures.
Hey, free picks. But yeah, go ahead, hit a like and subscribe on this, and we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. Preferably before the start of the next season. But we'll take it whenever we get it. Let's have a like goal on this episode. Let's do 10 likes. We just haven't been getting a lot, so let's crank these numbers up. We want to get in front of more Jags fans. So
Duval Nation. Let's ride.
exactly. So without any further ado, let's get into the King's view. So the Jaguars win the division last season, and now they're doing quiet housekeeping kind of moves. They retain the biggest amount of players that they can. They let Jawan Taylor go. Couldn't pay him that money, and that's fine.
Fuck them.
There's plenty of draft. There's a whole ass draft coming. So there's things. There's options. But someone next season has to give the Jags a problem. And I'm sure that there are a lot of fans out there, Colts, Texans, Titans fans.
Delusional.
For the most part. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I didn't think Davis Mills could do better than he did last season, but
I was talking about the Titans fans, but yeah. We're on the same page. I got you.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, who has the worst shot of trying to dethrone the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2023-24 season?
Titans.
Really?
Yep. 100%. I 100% stand behind that.
Explain.
I mean, Derrick Henry's going to be going into arthritic arrest by week 3. They still don't have an O-line. They signed a couple of like low impact players. Andre Dillard, who Titans fans think would have started on 30 of 32 teams. Not true. Dillard is not great. The guard they signed, he's pretty all right. Whatever. Arden Key, what is he going to change Nashville like he changed Jacksonville and get 3.5 sacks and knock on your door in the morning asking for scraps? Like, they overpaid him. They got rid of Bud Dupree and replaced him with somebody who's basically Bud Dupree Jr.
Did they actually get rid of Bud Dupree yet?
I thought he was one of the first people they cut.
They were talking about cutting him. I think he's still on the roster.
What? They said he was cut. Hold on, let me.
We will confirm.
Yeah, Bud Dupree is a free agent. Yeah, they cut. He was one of the first cuts they made.
All right.
Yeah, I think Taylor Lewan was the first one announced, and then it was Bud Dupree, and then it was one of their linebackers, I think. But anyways, besides the point. Yeah, Zach Cunningham, that's the one. They're still trash. I mean, they don't have a quarterback. They act like Ryan Tannehill's still good, but they also make all these mock drafts of them drafting CJ Stroud and trading up, and we're getting Lamar Jackson, congratulations, he'll win you 5 games and then not play the rest of the season for $50 million a year. Good for you. He's not going there anyways. Rand Carthen is, he wants to do his own thing, and he's kind of hurting some feelings. You have the best, all biases aside, Kevin Byard, top 3, if not top 2, if not top 1 free safeties in the league. Kevin Byard, great player, fantastic instincts, phenomenal athleticism. He plays bigger than he is. Dude's amazing.
Yeah.
Asking him to take a pay cut, excuse me? Yeah, you have one of the top safeties in the league, and you're asking him to take a pay cut because you gave out other bad contracts. The guys like Arden Key giving him what, $24 million over 3 years. Like, you think Arden Key's worth $8 million a year?
No,
dude's rotational. No, hell no. You got these guys coming in, and like you got Jeffrey Simmons who you don't want to pay because and now he's unfollowed him on Instagram and whatever the stupid thing kids are doing these days that are basically my age now, getting $40 million. Crazy to think I went from a kid watching like those guys are so old and they were like 24, and now I'm up here at 22, almost 23, and I'm like, I'm broke. Like, help me out. But like you turned down 3 years, 133 million guaranteed. Good for you. Like, okay, cool. Titans, I don't see it. Not this year, at least. They need more rebuilding. I think Rand Carthen in year 2 or 3 might be a little bit more of a challenge. But they're not going to have like a Jacksonville, Doug Peterson year 1 type of deal. It's going to be a 2 or 3 year process for them to get back into it if they do it all.
Yeah. Okay, so that begs the question: who would have the second worst chance?
Depending on the draft, the Colts.
Why?
I will. Okay, I will.
I'm sorry.
I just don't like them. I like the Texans better than the both. No, I'm kidding. I think that the Colts just don't have good upper leadership and ownership. I think Jim Irsay is really just not that great of an owner, but I think he's also at the point where he's like, now he's fighting his GM, where he's like, no, we're taking a quarterback, and the GM's like, or we could trade back because the quarterback class isn't that great. He's like, nah, this guy loves picks. Ha ha ha. I like that boy from Alabama. Now there's kind of some turmoil there. He's, continually the team has gotten worse, even though they have the highest paid O-line in the league, and then they, had the best running back in the league, and they had, Michael Pittman, and then they brought in Alec Pierce, and they brought in all these, depending on who they draft, it's going to be very interesting to see. I think preferably for them, Steichen, they get, of course, number 1 on everybody's board, CJ Stroud, in my opinion. Number 2 on their board, number 1 on their board for people who might be there. As much as it pains me to say, they're probably going to take Anthony Richardson. He's got a similar. He's basically like a little bit low, or he's definitely lower than Hurts on like the reaction time, the processing scale. Yeah. But he's like Hurts plus when it comes to arm strength, arm talent in terms of like potential. He makes a lot of wow throws. He makes a lot of ow throws. Like, why did you throw that? He's faster. He's stronger. He's more agile. It's his type of quarterback if that's the type of system he wants to run. It opens up a lot of doors for him if he has Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. I think people are underestimating / undersold on Will Levis's athleticism, so I could definitely see them going that route. Will Levis is faster, and he's a little bit shiftier than people give him credit for. He can run if he needs to. He has a strong arm. Does he have a cannon of an arm like he claimed to have? When you have guys like Anthony Richardson in the class, probably not. But what happens with Shaq, Darius, whoever, Leonard this offseason? Does he change his name back and become good again? Does he leave it as Shaq and continue to be a bitch? We'll see. I don't know. They might use him as trade bait in the draft. They might trade back. They might trade up. They might create a quarterback where they are. I just don't know. There's so much uncertainty with them. But they still have most of their core together in a sense. Getting rid of Gilmore, they were trying to clear some cap. I think they're going to make a push for Lamar here soon, right before the draft. I think that might be the goal that they have, and they can trade back or draft somebody, Will Anderson or something if he's still there at 4, because there's a good chance that there's 3 quarterbacks off the board, 1, 2, 3. We'll have to see, but there's a lot of uncertainty with me for them and the kind of the turmoil they're having between their owner and GM. But I still think they're in a better position than the Titans.
Yeah, the Colts have made some interesting moves, to say the least. I just feel like, for the most part, Stephon Gilmore, that move should have had more compensation involved. But I guess they were literally just like, "Hey, man, we need you guys to take this entire
Yeah,
contract."
Jerry was like, "We'll take the whole contract. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fifth
What you
round
want?
pick."
What you want? Like a fifth? I got you. Yeah. See, but then you got Houston, the only other team we haven't talked about yet. And does that by default make them the biggest threat to the Jaguars in 23-24?
I don't think threat's the right word, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, it might be the only threat.
One thing is we always have had a problem with Houston for the past 9 years. We've had a problem with Houston. Houston has a very promising young core of players. Petrie, dog.
Yeah.
You got, what's the left guard's name? Green, right? What's his? Yeah, dog. Kenyon Green. He's got some stuff to work on, but he's got what it takes to be a dog in the league. Depending on who they draft at quarterback, we'll see. I'm not really sold on Bryce Young. I know people say like, "Oh, he can play even though he's small." Like, yeah, but he's small. When you have guys like Trayvon Walker, who are 170 pounds, or not 170, about 70 to 80 pounds heavier, 7 inches taller, and their biceps are as big around as your head, and they run faster than you. You have to play him twice a year. That causes a problem. Both of our defensive ends run faster than him. Well, outside linebackers, edge, whatever you want to call them. We got some guys. I was really honestly hoping they would bring in Calais Campbell this year to kind of give us a little more pass. I know I'm talking about Jacksonville right now, but whatever.
It's
but realistically, though, I think getting some better help across that O-line for the Texans is going to be a big thing. If they can bring in some nice, solid pieces to kind of pair in there. I know Laramie Tunsil just got his deal. You've got Green at left guard. You basically have the left side shirt up as long as Green, just grows in this offseason and progresses. Yeah. As long as he doesn't plateau or fall off, you guys are looking really good on that left side, which is great for whatever quarterback you end up bringing in because, of course, blind side, you have one of the best tackles in the league. And then the guard is important. Center, y'all still have your center, right?
Yeah, we brought Quisenberry back, and we signed one from the Dolphins, Dieter.
Yep. So it'll be interesting there. I mean, I'm sure Quisenberry is a solid starter. He's not all world or elite, but he's definitely not. He's not on the lower end or bad. He's probably a nice middle to high middle pack center in the league. I mean, he does what he needs to do. He doesn't give up a lot of sacks. Right side still kind of some question marks. We'll have to see. Y'all's tackle had a pretty decent season this year, though, didn't he? The right tackle.
Yeah. And we got Shaq Mason.
Oh, that's right. Y'all did get Shaq Mason. Yes, big move. Like Shaq Mason a lot.
Yeah.
So again, it'll be interesting to see. I think they've improved more. Maybe not even technically past the other teams. I think they've just put more improvements in place, and I think they have more promising young talent on the roster currently than the other two teams. And that's one reason I'm big on them. I think that when they get the right quarterback in there, that'll really help out. They finally brought in another running back that's not Rex Burkhead, so that's going to be nice. It'll give Damian Pierce a little bit of rest too. I mean, that's one thing is they had to overrun him, kind of like the Titans have done to Henry over the years. Yeah. So it'll give him a little bit of rest. He'll be a little more effective. Dude's a beast. I love him. He's out of Florida. It's my favorite team, like college. He's a beast. He's a dog. So. We'll see, though. I mean, they've added a lot of good people, and I think that, honestly, they have the best shot out of anybody. And I want to see Christian Harris progress a little bit more this season, now that he's going to have a healthy season, as long as he stays healthy under his belt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great, dude. He's super fast. He's athletic. He has great instincts coming out of college. We'll just have to see how he can translate. But, yeah, the draft really is going to be the biggest kicker as to really who's, challenging, who's coming into the King's court challenging. But I think as of right now, as it stands, personally, I would say the Texans do.
Well, I'd like to disagree with you, but
I mean, also got to think about it. The Texans normally they beat everyone at least once in the division. Normally, they're the only team that does that. So now, if they can squeak out an extra win against the Colts or an extra win against the Titans, and it won against Jacksonville potentially, they're, I mean. I'm not saying we're going to sweep the Titans and sweep the Colts, but there's a chance that they could be pushing us towards the end of the year. But we'll see. Again,
yeah.
I like what's his face? Jesus Christ, D'Amico Ryans. I like Ryans a lot,
yeah.
And we'll see what they do.
I mean, hell, last year we had a winning record in the division, 3-2-1.
Yep.
So, I mean, last year was the first year in a,
Yep. 10 seconds away from
in a
CJ Stroud.
while. Yeah, well, last year was the first year in like I don't think we've ever swept the Colts actually, but last year was the first year we've never lost to the Colts.
Nice.
So, while it was a shit season, I'll take that little W. Because there was a year like Curtis Painter beat us in the suck for luck era.
Yeah.
I was so mad. All right, well, let's talk about some prospects in the draft, and then we'll wrap this hoe up. All right. So, pick number 24. We've talked about the possibility of trading back. We've talked about the edge rushers. We've talked about the defensive tackles, Clancy, etc. What prospects have you had your eye on, or have a little bit of, a gut feeling about?
Glad you asked. Not too many.
Yeah.
The hard part is with like just some of these names got on the radar because of the combine, and you almost never. There's only like one or two people that go combine crazy that actually turn out.
Yeah.
And most of the time they're guys that were already like well spoken of, different stuff like that. I think one that really popped on the radar for me, just the pure athleticism, was Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion. I went and watched some of his tape, some of his highlights and stuff. I mean, of course, highlights are highlights, but I mean, the dude can ball. He has a really good release. The fact that he isn't like up higher on the list is kind of surprising to me. But of course, being from Old Dominion, not having like huge numbers definitely affects that. He has really smooth release. He's 6'8", 6'7¾". He ran a 4.55 at the combine, had a 40.5-inch vertical. He's 255, 260 pounds, somewhere in that range. You throw an extra 15, 20 pounds on him, he only loses, 0.5 on his 40 and 0.5 on his vertical. Even if he loses that at all, I mean, he's going to be a menace. I really think that he's a guy that you can split out wide or bring in close, and you could probably sweep him in the 5th or 6th round, just with where he's projected currently. I'm not really too big on the whole first round prospects this year. It's just kind of tough to say. I don't know. There's been so many different mock drafts this year, and people are just putting them out to put them out nowadays is what they're really doing. So it's hard to say who's going to be gone. I mean, there's a good chance there's going to be four picks that are just negated in front of us because the quarterback's going to be off the board. Yeah. They're basically not even picks at that point because they're just quarterbacks. We're not looking for a quarterback, so they're not on our board anyways. 24, I mean, I've seen Torrance mocked a couple times to us. That'd be awesome. I mean, he's kind of, like I mentioned previously, he's kind of got some shorter arms. There's some athletic scores he kind of scores a little bit low on, but at the same time, dude's a dog. He he didn't let up any quarterback hits, didn't let up any sacks, throughout his career at college. He's from Florida, who I love so much. So, whatever, BGA, best gator available, which seems like what Jacksonville was doing for the longest time. It'll be interesting. Some other prospects, Tank Dell. I know I've mentioned him a couple of times on the podcast now. I mean, dude just has lightning quick feet. And he had there's that video from the, what's it called? The Senior Bowl, where he did like the scissor hesitation step and like just burned the dude on a in and out route. Like, oh man, it was so nasty. And dude's just really good. We're not looking for like that big number one wide receiver now that we have Calvin Ridley. So it'd be nice to have some backup guys or, guys who can play on the slot, give Christian Kirk a breather, who are route technicians who can move pretty quick. I mean, there's a couple guys, D linemen, that are gonna potentially fall a little bit or rise. We just don't really know yet, and that's kind of the worst thing. Is like, I've seen, Luke Musgrave, I've seen Michael Mayer, I've seen Rashad Torrance, I've seen, Ande Anazike or whatever, however you pronounce his last name.
The Felix guy from K-State.
Felix from K-State. That's what we're gonna call him, Mr. Felix.
Yeah.
I've seen freaking Brian Brees. I've seen so many different people that it's like, it's just hard to tell. And up until we kind of figure it out, it's just kind of up in the air right now. We're not in a situation where we're like, suffering at one position so bad, then like we're top 10 pick, so basically guaranteed who we want. So it's just kind of some other prospects I've been looking at to just kind of, I mean, would I like to have Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon? Sure, dude's insanely athletic. He's 6'2". He's tall. I mean, would I like having what's his name? Monty. I think is it Monty? The dude from Maryland, number 0, the DB.
Oh God,
It's not Monty. What's it? Rap. I'm over here stalling out. Maryland, number 0.
does not compute.
Well, I don't fucking know. He's not showing up. Whatever.
He doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, whatever. Football. Anyways, I wouldn't mind having him, whatever his name is. I just clearly have done my research so much. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it'll be interesting. I'm just that's really all I got right now.
I feel you on that. It's hard to when there's not a lot going on. It's hard to drum it up,
Yeah, with the puppies too. It's hard for me to look into all these prospects and stuff and just kind of doing my thing. Getting rid of the last 2 tomorrow. So
hey, there you go. Well, folks, I think we're out of time here on this one. So go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. If you disagree or agree with anything we said, put it in the comments section. We always love hearing from people. And as always, thank you, Isaiah, for coming on. And
oh yeah,
thank you guys for watching. Be good people.